Well, camp is officially over. We learned a lot. What did we learn? Coming up.
You are Locked On Nebraska, your daily Nebraska Cornhuskers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Good morning, and thanks for making Locked On Nebraska your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase.
All right, welcome in. Hello, I am Mitch Sherman from The Athletic. Connor Happer of 1620 The Zone is with me. The weekend is over. It was another eventful and very hot weekend in Lincoln. Nebraska held its final scrimmage of the preseason on the grass outside of the Osborne Complex. Week 0 in college football, Connor, is upon us. Saturday in Dublin, Ireland, of all places to play a college football game. Who would do that? Iowa State and Kansas State are playing.
Of all places to play Farmageddon, Dublin, yes. Ireland. They're going to, I don't know how much Busch Light they've shipped over there, but hopefully
it'll all be free.
Those two fan bases. Yes, if it goes anything like Nebraska's experience, the cash registers will completely break and everything will be free and chaos will break loose in Dublin. So I'm excited to see what kind of shenanigans are on deck for this weekend.
I don't think they're going to be serving Busch Light at.
They have to get some over there. I mean, there's no way that these guys could survive without it. It's like air.
All right, we'll do an investigation. We'll find somebody on site at the Aer Lingus Classic and find out on Saturday if they're serving Busch Light or if there's been any Busch Light shipped over there to replace the Guinness that flows plentifully around that venue. So for Nebraska, as I mentioned, camp is effectively over. The Huskers will have 4 days of practice this week before a real game week work begins on Friday. Matt Rhule is going to stage some sort of a simulated game type experience for his team without the actual game, just all of the pregame and everything that they do late this week. They did a simulated, the physical part of it they did on Saturday. As I mentioned, it was very hot. 97, I believe, was the air temp in Lincoln at 2:30 when Nebraska kicked that thing off. They were on the grass, so that's a bit of a reprieve, but they did everything like live rushing the punter. They did not hit the quarterbacks, but it was a solid scrimmage, according to the head coach. The offense got things going. They sustained some long drives. Too many penalties. He brought in a Big Ten officiating crew, asked them to call it tight. Too much stuff like defensive holding, he mentioned. And he also mentioned that the ones versus the twos, when they went to the twos, the gap was too large. And then when they got to the threes, the gap was too large between the twos and the threes. So he wants to see that come down. All that said, Connor, I am comfortable saying that Nebraska has put in the books its most successful camp in a number of years in Lincoln.
Why do you say that?
Well, the coach was in an extremely good mood on Saturday night. I would say that sways my opinion a bit. I've not seen Matt Rhule as upbeat as he was. And maybe this is just the end of camp. So he canceled meetings on Saturday night. He told the players in the late afternoon that they were done for the day, and that was not the way that the schedule read. He shortened practice a bit. Some of it, his mood had to do with Elijah Judy, their defensive lineman, who is a favorite of Rhule's for sure. And Rhule loves to tell his story about how Elijah is the first in his family to graduate from college and just what a life-changing event that was and has been for his entire family, including his wife and his young son, who was a regular at practice. Elijah is a great story. And so he graduated and Rhule was just pumped about that. But also I think he was excited because of the work that he's seen this team put in for basically the last 3 to 4 weeks. So they're a more mature team. I think they have more developed leadership. I think their health is relatively good coming out of camp. So these are all things that we can talk about over the next few minutes here. But yeah, I think it's the best. This is the best camp they've had in a while. I was thinking about this last night and tried to go back through the Frost years of like what camps might have actually been good, and then the season just fell apart when we got to September, and it's just so foggy. It's hard to tell. I mean, I know the 22 camp wasn't good because Nebraska opened in Dublin, and it couldn't have been good based on the way things went there. So, and that was a messed up situation with the coach on the hot seat. But maybe 21, and you may have to go back a lot farther than that to figure out Nebraska the camp this good.
I would have no context as to what camp is good compared to other camps. However, I do think this will be Nebraska's best team that they've had in a while. I mean, so like that always makes the coach more comfortable and more happy.
Right.
And he's certainly been that. I mean, he's mentioned that several times. Like, I really like this team. Nothing against these other teams that I've coached, but I really like this group. I don't know what else a coach would say, but yeah, I mean, we've seen it. You don't have to have Matt Rhule tell us, but I do think they've created some depth, and they are better, I think, at the tops of the depth chart in those two deeps than they've been. So, like, the frame we look at it through is how good is the team. If you don't think the team is going to be very good, then maybe the vibes won't be as good. But people are willing to sort of buy in a little bit on this group, and they have a nice lighter or light-ish runway that helps things out as well in the month of late August and into September. That is, as long as you get past that first game. So yeah, I think the vibes are really good right now for sure.
I think we forget sometimes too how could you forget this? But for so many years, drama just followed this program everywhere. And I mean self-inflicted drama, not the kind of stuff like you lose a starting offensive tackle in the first week of camp. That happened too, but self-inflicted drama where Nebraska would just find itself in various messes. There was a year where Nebraska was holding the most awkward press conference ever during camp to talk about sanctioning itself and being under investigation. This time of year is always all about football, and you haven't played any games yet, so there's some mystery around how good the team is going to be. But Nebraska, we should remember, has had a lot of setbacks in the month of August that spoke to the dysfunction that existed. Sorry, if you hear my dog in the background, he's very upset that I've made him stay down here near me.
It's been a long few days for him. So yeah,
he's had a long few days. We've all had a long few days. We'll mention that later in the show.
Yeah,
but no major injuries or anything like that. So let me go over the injury situation and where Nebraska's health is at right now as we go into, you can call this week 0 for Nebraska. I think that's a great way to describe it for Nebraska. Even though there's no game at the end of week 0, this is like the run up to week 1 next week. And by the way, Nebraska is not going to do anything with Cincinnati. They're not going to get the scout team out on the field. They're not going to talk about Cincinnati in the team environment until they get to Friday of this week. So that's something that Matt Rhule made clear in his 35 minutes with the media on Saturday afternoon. So injury situation, Mac Markway, Bly Hill, Gage Stenger out for the season. Several other smaller setbacks. You've had Javen Wright, who missed a couple of days in practice last week. Quentin Ives, the running back, missed quite a bit of camp time. And we're just talking about top unit players here. So some others who've missed a little bit of time, Andrew Marshall, Sierra Wright, Dane Key, Jeremiah Jones, they all seem to be back and in good shape as we go into this week 0. Same thing with Deshaun Singleton. Rhule did mention on Saturday that Gibson Pyle, the backup offensive guard, redshirt freshman, was hurt in that scrimmage on Saturday, and no word yet on the seriousness there with his injury, but obviously they're hoping for something minor. The Huskers they have avoided those major blows, like losing a starter long term, that can really mar the month of August.
Agreed. Yeah, I don't think they've lost that many significant pieces. I think Markway probably would have played. I was really interested to see him this year, so that's a shame that his knee didn't hold up. And then Bly Hill coming back as well probably would have been in the mix-ish a little bit. Stenger, a special teams player, like you said, but bumps and bruises and soft tissue stuff, like that's camp stuff. So absolutely, Nebraska made it out. Like, well, I guess I don't know if they made it out yet. There's still a week of practice before they get to game week.
Right.
So
made it out of camp. Haven't made it through the preseason yet.
Right. So
we don't want to get too over, too ahead of ourselves there. Something could certainly happen this week, but the signs, the arrows are pointed in the right direction for this team to be in good health when they get to Cincinnati week on Friday.
No doubt. Vibes are definitely good. Like we said.
Let's take a break, come back, talk about other major takeaways from preseason camp, and then we'll get to some of the lighter stuff and a lot. Matt Rhule had a lot to say on Saturday, so we'll get to more of that and whatever else is happening around Nebraska this week as we head into the later days of August. That is all coming up next on the Locked On Nebraska podcast.
But first, a word from our friends from Drip Drop. That's right. If you are trying to stay on top of your routine, whether that's workouts or maybe get a long day on campus or staying focused through back-to-back classes or hell, a day at work, hydration is where it all begins. And the time is now. That's right. Start off your week with it. That's where Drip Drop comes in. Drip Drop is a doctor-developed, scientifically proven for fast hydration. It uses the perfect balance of sodium electrolytes, and glucose to help your body absorb fluids quickly, delivering 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of a leading sports drink. They sent us a bag of Drip Drops. I got to tell you, in the middle of the summer, I went through them very quickly. I'm talking about on the golf course to start off my day. A nice little push to start off these very hot dog days of August. So get yourself a Drip Drop right now. And here's the deal. Drip Drop is offering Locked On listeners 20% off your first order. Just head to dripdrop.com and use the promo code Locked On College. Dripdrop.com, promo code Locked On College for 20% off. Stock up right now before the heat really hits you. All right, welcome back. Connor Happer, Mitch Sherman with you here on the Locked On Nebraska podcast as we continue to sort of go through camp here. Nebraska has all of their single-digit numbers released. We were sort of hinting that Dylan Raiola may be getting number 1 late last week.
Did not happen.
That did not happen. However, he was featured in a video in a cornfield. We'll talk about that.
That's right.
Momentarily as well.
That does seem like months ago. So I hope you had a good weekend. I had what I would characterize as a good weekend. It was maybe the longest weekend ever. So I learned that dropping off a child at college is a very emotionally taxing experience, and it doesn't stop really at any moment. Let's just at any specific moment. It can continue into the late hours of night, whatever it might be. I'm not going to divulge too many details for concern of embarrassment, and everything seems to be fine here on this Monday morning. But what a life experience that was. We could have used some Drip Drop. Let's just say that would have helped. It would have helped to have had Drip Drop for all of us to stay hydrated, to stay healthy. Like listen to our ad reads and take them to heart. Nebraska players, I'm sure had plenty of Drip Drop. They were absolutely taking care of themselves in that Saturday heat. So
yeah, this weekend would have been it would have been up there with among the worst possible weekends to move the stuff across campus and into a dorm room and stuff like that. So yeah, it's I'm feeling for you guys out there. It was a rough one.
So yeah, we mentioned single digits. Let's go through it. Javen Wright is wearing 0. Sierra Wright, he got number 1. Ja'Cory Barney, number 2. Marquise Buford, number 3, returning from last year. Janiron Bonner got 4. Riley Van Poppel, the D tackle, new guy in the single digits at number 5. Wide receiver Dane Key at 6. Safety Malcolm Hartzog, safety Deshaun Singleton are 7 and 8 respectively, both returning single digits. And then Vincent Shavers, V9, is wearing number 9. So as you said, Dylan Raiola did not get one. But Dylan had an outstanding camp. And typically, Matt Rhule has been kind of hot and cold or on the fence about giving out, and it's not his decision, but on quarterbacks getting single digits. I've heard him talk about that some, and it's maybe not like his favorite thing to do. What, Nebraska had a single digit awarded to Jeff Sims a couple of years ago. I believe that was right, and he's done it maybe once at his other stops in college, but this is kind of the lineup of single digits, the positions that they play that I think works well in Rhule's mind. Like his quarterback, yeah, he's tough for sure. But like, is he the guy that like defines toughness within the team structure? Because this is as much about toughness as it is about leadership. And we have no questions about Dylan Raiola's leadership after the camp that he's had, not just the camp, but the offseason that he's had. We heard on Friday from Dana Holgorsen, the offensive coordinator, who said that Dylan is making the kind of throws this month that Holgorsen has not seen. And full disclosure, I was not there to ask a follow-up, and I'm not sure what the follow-up was to that. Like, does he mean, let's just ask this rhetorically among ourselves, does he mean throws that he's not seen Dylan make, or throws that he's not seen any of his quarterbacks make, like going back to Case Keenum and others? Or does he mean like throws that he's not ever seen made in the game of football? Because those could be different types of observations.
How I would always interpret that is throws that I've literally seen with my own eyes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so yeah, I mean, I think he was trying to put him in high regard with the quarterbacks that he has coached, which is the thing that, you know, is important to everybody. I haven't seen much reaction to the whole did he or did he not get a single digit number thing, or should he have taken it?
We probably made a bigger deal than it needed to be.
Yeah, right. So we talked about it a little bit last week. You know, whatever. The Nebraska needs him to throw touchdowns.
Absolutely.
And they need him to run the offense. So that's his job.
Rhule said that Emmett Johnson and Cam Lenhart were right on the edge, and they have multiple votes. Like there's a first set of votes, and they get 2 single digits out of the way there, and then they had 4 handed out at once. So in one of these sets of votes, Emmett Johnson and Cam Lenhart were right there, and Rhule said he thought actually about adding an extra single digit or 2 to this haul. You know, you could have a 3 on offense and a 3 on defense. Like Emmett could have worn 3 along with Buford. So Rhule consulted with Corey Campbell, who's like his compass on all of these things when it comes to tradition and how, you know, like the OOU culture, the one of us, and all of those things work for Matt Rhule, because Corey he's been with Rhule from the start. And Campbell, the strength coach, said, no way, don't do it. There's only 10 of these. There used to be 9. And then they added the number 0 to college football, so we made it 10. But we're not going to 11 or 12, coach. I'm not gonna stand for it. And when Corey Campbell tells you no, you pretty much say, okay, that's the way it's going to be.
Yeah, great move. There's no need to water it down or anything like that. Absolutely, I thought that was absolutely the right thing to do.
Yeah. So how about development? We talked about leadership. What about development from Nebraska and camp? What's your, just like off the observations that you've seen through camp, how have you felt about Nebraska's ability to develop its depth and even some top end of the roster stuff through August so far?
Yeah, I think they've had some guys, come from. We don't hear about this as much, like from the coach. So even though they, at times we'll give shout outs to some guys who are kind of coming along there, and then all of a sudden they're pushing that top group. But I think they've done a little bit of that. I don't know how much better I feel about what's going to happen at running back this year. Maybe the future prognosis on a guy like Mekhi Nelson or Isaiah Mosey is really good, but right away, I think that's still probably like a position of concern. But I do think you've got some You've got some defensive linemen to step up where you've needed them to. You're getting a little bit healthier at that position as well. Some young guys who are coming along. That continues to happen in the defensive backfield. And so, yeah, I think that's probably happened a little bit as well. And what you're going to see, I think, as far as the development is concerned, is hopefully this happens during the season, right? Hopefully there will be a point in the season where Nebraska is playing some guys who, you didn't hear about during this camp. And they're like, whoa, those guys held up like that. That's pretty good. That's development. That's what Nebraska did. I mean, that's why the bowl game was so big for them last year. That happened with 3 or 4 different guys. So, I think that absolutely is on track at the moment.
Yeah, the bowl game talk actually leads into my observation when I talk about development and especially in the later stages of camp pretty well. One of the guys that was mentioned, highlighted on Friday, was TJ Lateef, who is in the running now to be the top backup quarterback to Dylan Raiola. Through the summer and in the beginning of camp, there was no question that Jalen Gramstad was the guy. He's the oldest quarterback in the room, and they love what he brings as far as just his personality, his knowledge of the offense. It's never been about like overwhelming athleticism or great skill, or this guy's going to take the over the offense if needed, and he's going to just put a team on his back. And I don't know that TJ Lateef is in that category as a true freshman either, but the confidence that they have in him now is allowing Lateef to push Gramstad for that number 2 job, which I didn't think that we would see in the month of August. So that's notable. A couple other players that Rhule brought up on Saturday: Jameer Khan, the defensive back, who's a transfer from Southern Illinois, and Jalen George, the D lineman from East Tennessee State. Rhule said that Khan reminds him of Budda Baker, the 7-time NFL Pro Bowl safety for the Arizona Cardinals. Not in how he plays, but for the way that Khan is just ready to fly around the field and hit everything when he's out there. So I want to play a clip of Rhule talking about Khan and George. He's starting here with Jalen George, and then gets back to Jameer as this thing goes on.
Jalen George shows up on his visit from East Tennessee State. He's like, just so you know, if I can come here, you'll never hear me complain about eating, because at East Tennessee State, which is a great school, and Sat played there, and we used to play there. I was at Western Carolina. I'm an FCS guy, and Division III guy at heart from my coaching career beginning. He said, but just so you know, Coach, when I was at East Tennessee State, our pregame meal was in the cafeteria with the other students. Like, I got my tray, I said, excuse me, and I went up, and you'll never hear me complain. That guy's running around now. He's like 290, 285. Like, and he's another guy that got hurt. And those two guys, like, they're just hungry. And that hunger feeds a lot of other guys, Our college football world, it's going to be interesting to see. Like, you give kids, some kids maybe can handle it. You give kids a lot of money at 18 years old. You see some of these kids that are signing, like, he's making, 6 figures, 7 figures as a 17-year-old kid. Like, how hungry can you be? This guy was like, Coach, I was waiting in line to get, the lima beans and corn to get myself ready to play the game. So if Miss Kristen tells me that she's going to give me a smoothie on the way out of the building, I'm going to say thank you.
Sounds like they're both literally and figuratively hungry for those guys. He loves talking about that stuff, man. He loves, like, I want guys to be here, and I want them to want to eat all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But what he's talking about, the bigger picture of the eating all the time, is all of the stuff that Nebraska has at their fingertips and all of the resources that they've poured into the football program. And some guys, like, they just kind of expect it, and it's like, yeah, whatever, and guys who have come from other places, specifically smaller schools, like those guys are like, you guys aren't like thanking God for this every day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is incredible. Like, you and I sit here, we're like, yeah, if I had a buffet at my fingertips or like a personal chef basically to make me whatever I wanted every day, I think I would, do everything I could to keep that in my life. Right. So I think Rhule uses that as a pretty good example for the rest of his guys.
As long as they're all hungry, like figuratively hungry, then you're in good shape. Like, how spoiled they have become, and how and like how much they take for granted. the luxuries that Nebraska provides, like that's going to happen if you're in the program for a longer period of time. Like you're going to in almost every case start to take it for granted. Like Rhule, he has his own chef in addition to the chefs who work in the football program. Like he's got somebody to make him meals outside of what they eat at the training table, and that's fantastic. Like he's the new age college football quarterback, like who's living as much in the mold of an NFL quarterback as you can get without actually being in the NFL.
He literally rented out Barry's, like who rents out Barry's? That did
not a college football player until the last 2 years. Yeah.
It's pretty different. So yeah, it's about where your head's at. All right. When we come back, Nebraska wearing black uniforms. We'll see what the temperature is on that. And what's this mean after this?
Have you ever decided to head to a ball game or a sporting event at the last minute? That's the question I have for you as we talk right now about game time. Maybe it's game day and suddenly you realize you want to be there in the stands with all of the other fans. That's exactly where Game Time comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last minute tickets without the stress. And with the money that you can save through Game Time, just go ahead and splurge on food and drinks and merch. Maybe you just want to invite more people to come with you. Game Time makes that possible. It makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app drop the closer you get to the beginning of your event. They've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. It could be that season opener for the Huskers against Cincinnati or the home opener against Akron. There is a huge sporting event in Lincoln, Nebraska that starts on Friday this week, the ABCA Volleyball Classic. Nebraska, the number one ranked team in the country, is playing Pitt at Pinnacle Bank Arena on Friday night. You want tickets to that? Check out Game Time. Major League Baseball, it's there. Game Time is the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB. That makes it easier to browse the app for an exciting upcoming MLB game like the Kansas City Royals on August 29th after Nebraska's season opener. Game Time has last-minute tickets and zone deals for big savings. Seat views in the app before you buy. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, a couple more things to cover in this Monday episode of the Locked On Nebraska podcast. Mitch Sherman, Connor Happer with you. So did this happen on Friday? I think it did.
Yes.
Nebraska put out the video. You mentioned it earlier in the show. Dylan Rhule in the cornfield with a couple of teammates, and they're walking out of the corn, and they're wearing all black. So
for the record, Mitch, I was not driving the truck. I got a couple tweets on Friday morning. That was Teddy.
People
Prohaska.
Think that?
Yeah, I got a couple tweets. They were like, "Is Connor driving the truck?" No, that was Teddy Prohaska. That's my brother, who's about a foot taller than me. No, yes. It was not me.
Yeah.
Look for me in other upcoming hype videos, though, that you might not like as much. We'll see.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. I've never noticed the resemblance between you and Teddy Prohaska. If you just want to go like neck and up,
maybe.
You and I want to. We need to get this at some point. It's hard for you to come to practices because your show on 1620 The Zone, listen to it daily from 10 to 2. It's on at the time that Nebraska is generally getting done with practice. But we need to get you down there, like or after a game, and get you and Teddy next to each other and take that photo. Like he could sit maybe on a chair and you could stand, and then you'd be the same height.
Yeah, give me a little step stool or something like that. But I thought Rhule had a great comment on black uniforms. I thought he was, as the kids would say, spitting in this one.
Yeah.
Here's Rhule on Saturday.
We know that like wearing this jersey or that jersey doesn't make you play better. And if it does, then we have way bigger problems to begin with. But like, we have a right to do cool things. Like we have a right to like, at the University of Nebraska, we have a right to do like what other schools do. Like we have a right to go out there and, I mean, my first year here, they already planned it. They had an alternate jersey my first year. It was like the Northwestern game. It was 100 years. Remember, it was just a blue outline. And the guys were like, Coach, can we please wear blue gloves? And I remember it was like, I remember I went to Trev, like, can they wear blue gloves? And guys like, you know what? Guess what? We won the game. You know, and we won the game because of how we tackled and caught, and you know, we blocked a field goal for a touchdown. We stopped them in the red zone. So I think Dylan's saying is, you know, it's going to come down to how we play, especially versus a great team like USC. You know, we're anticipating that being a night game. There's nothing worse than black jerseys in the middle of the day.
And then Nebraska's audio kind of cut out a little bit, but he had some more stuff on it. You know, like he thinks about these type of things. But the quote there, "We have the right to do cool things," hit me pretty good. Like that's a really good. I mean, Nebraska is a place that is, in some cases, a little bit beholden to its tradition. Like when Nebraska announces a blackout against USC, maybe there's like a dozen fans out there who are like, "I only wear red to games, and this is the only thing I do because I've been doing it for 40 years." Well, guess what? You know, you could do cool things. It's stadium atmosphere. People complain about it all the time. So this is Nebraska's effort to try and get it right. I love it. And I hope that hopefully for everybody's sake, that game is a night game.
You can love your traditions. You can have your shirt that you've worn to every game since 1985. All of that stuff can be very important to you. And it doesn't take away from the significance of the fans in the big picture of Nebraska football. But when it comes down to it, the program belongs to the players. They're the ones who are out there when it's 97 degrees on a Saturday afternoon in August, having a scrimmage, and hitting and sweating and just doing ungodly things to their to their physical selves in order to get ready for this season. So if they are in favor of this type of stuff that Matt Rhule is talking about, and they're able to put a product on the field that represents the university well, then people really shouldn't. You can complain. People can complain. And I don't know who I'm talking to here because I don't really think there's that much complaining going on about Nebraska wanting to have a blackout. But I did see some of it too on social media. It might be like Iowa and Colorado and Kansas State fans who are just trying to stir crap within the Nebraska ethosphere. But there are people out there who don't want to see that they want to stick with only tradition. And that's just not college football today.
I think the point is, like, why is it even mildly controversial? What, and that's what Rhule was trying to explain. Like, he had to go to Trev, and I'm sure, like, Trev is a huge tradition guy. Trev hated any color that wasn't red. He needed Nebraska to wear red all the time. I'm sure he was like, no, you can't wear blue gloves, you know? So, like, why does it need to be a conversation? Why, you know, the coach should have the creative freedom to sort of do that thing to a certain level, right? I mean, everybody comes together and makes that decision. So,
yeah, it has to look good. I mean, and that's in the eye of the beholder. But a blackout is not a crazy thing, and to be clear, they're calling for this to be not just on the field. Like, they want the fans in black there. And how about Rhule's little revelation there that they expect this to be a night game too?
Yeah,
like we've not heard that from the Big Ten and the networks, and it'll be decided toward the end. Like, they're going to do the 11-day window as normal with this thing, but they get word, they get whispers. Rhule made a joke on Saturday in the press conference. Sean Callahan asked a question, and Rhule said, "I'll answer that question if you tell me where these whispers are that you hear in camp." As camp goes
where's
on.
the
buzz? It was the buzz. Where's where does the buzz come from? It was so funny, funny to hear that. He was really on one. Rhule was, by the time this thing got over.
Yeah, he was like, "I'm having a great day," which was awesome. And then to finish things off, as we have like a minute left here, Matt Rhule, he just decided to throw this one in there. Many people have commented on his hands and where they go when he takes pictures. Why is he doing that? Well, I mean, by the way, we can flash back to this from yeah, if you're watching on YouTube. Now, look, that is a different finger point, isn't it? And we talked specifically about the finger point that day in 2023 at Big Ten, or 2023 at Big Ten Media
That
Day.
was you, for the audio listeners. That was you giving
Yeah.
him the 2-finger salute,
Yeah.
and him giving you a 1-finger salute.
It's kind of interesting, isn't it? Kind of interesting. So here's Matt Rhule talking about it on Saturday.
One more thing. This, because people ask me about this all the time. This is how they signaled Husker. So Tony White and then Satton's guys thought that looked like the state of Nebraska. So every picture I take, I do this, okay? Because number one, no one needs to see me with two arms around two people like this, my stomach hanging out. Like, you know, I was at Baylor, my hand was like this, but every picture I take, I want branded. I'm the head coach at the University of Nebraska, and there's not a picture I don't take that I'm representing this school. And you know what's cool? I got little kids walk up to me, I'm like, Coach, can I get a picture? They all do this. And someday, Nash, I'm going to sign you, bro. Wish his son's back there. I'm going to sign him, and on his letter of, his commitment video, it's got a picture of him like when he was at camp like this, and now when he's 18 like this. And so I just think, that's what this is. So anyway, I answered a lot of questions. You guys got me in a great mood. I came in early, hung out with you guys. Everyone's here. Thank you for a great camp. And guess what? Camp is over. Camp is over tonight, so I'm going to get some sleep. Thank you.
Wow, what a walk-off. Yeah, that was what, for the record, that's what he told me that day. The joke about the stomach hanging out. It was not my idea that it looked like the state of Nebraska. I would have never thought of that, for the record.
So why was he talking then about his stomach hanging out was he talking about the 2 fingers that day?
I said, why do you do this? And he was like, I just cover up my stomach. And, I was like, oh, funny. It's a joke. And then we just kind of moved on. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know the story behind the story, but what a great way to end the show. Camp is over. I'm going to go get some sleep. I need to get some sleep. We'll be back on Tuesday with another episode, and then with you all through the week into game week for Nebraska. Thanks today for making Locked On Nebraska your first listen. For your second listen, check out the Portal Show. Brian Smith has got all the latest rumors, portal entries, and signings. Be the most informed fan on the rapid changes to the college football landscape. Find the Portal on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts.